In this video, we are going to create a Gizmo application. So Gizmo is a news application similar to one that is given in the layout preview here. The layout contains multiple sections like header, hero, articles. Articles contains multiple article, and at the bottom we also have footer. We can also use the data that is given here to display multiple articles. So what we have to do is we have to take a look at this layout and break down this layout into small components like header, hero, articles, article, and footer. And once we are done with this, we'll have a layout something like this. We have header, hero, articles, and then we have footer. So I've already created the basic HTML into an HTML file, but this time we are not going to use a HTML file to write React. We are going to use create React app. And for that, I've already created a basic boilerplate by using create React app. So here, the most important folder is src. Inside src, I have created a folder named components, and that is going to have different files based on the number of components we need. So we have hero, header, footer, articles, article, but all of these are empty. So we will add it in future. Here we have a component named app that says hello world. We are exporting it from here, and we are also importing that in our index.js file. So we imported app from /component/app, and we are displaying it here. One another thing that we are also doing is we are importing the style.css file that I've already written it. So now what we need to do, we need to take this HTML and we have to break this whole structure into components like article, footer, header, hero, etc. So let's start working on it first. So the first thing we need to do is to break down this layout into components. So we know the first section is going to be header. So I'll just going to copy it from here and we'll create a functional component, name it header. We are exporting it, and from here we just have to return header. Similarly, we'll move on to next section. So next section is main, but inside main we have hero and we also have articles and article section. So first we'll go ahead and take this hero section and we'll put it inside hero.js. We'll call this hero. And what we need to return from here is the hero section. Similarly, we'll go back and look at articles. But to create articles, we also need article. So first we'll create this article component. So we'll go into our article component, create a component and name it article. And here we'll just replace it with our li element. We'll remove all the comments, and here ESLint is throwing an error. So we just say _a for now. Later on we'll fix it. So we have our article component. Now it's time for articles component. So inside articles component, this is how we need to display information. So articles will be inside section. Inside that we have ul and then li will come. So I'll just copy this from here. We'll go on to articles component, create a component named articles. And here we'll put this, we'll wrap ul and section. Now what we need to do is to put multiple article component here. So what we can do, we can just import article component from /article and we can just display it multiple times. So we have articles. Articles is going to have multiple articles. So we are importing article and we're displaying it multiple times. All we need to do now is to create our footer component. And here footer, you can see it is outside of main. So I'll just copy it, go to footer, create a component, call it footer, and return this React element. So in that way, we are done creating components. We have created component like article, articles, footer, header, and hero. Now we need to organize them and bring them together. So right now, if you look at it, nothing is visible on our page. Why? Because in our app component, we have hello world only. So we will first take a look at our index.html to see how we need to structure it. So inside body, we need header first, right? So let's go into our app component and display header here. So as soon as we save it, it will not work because we will have to first import that. So we imported it by saying import header dot slash header. We'll save it, and now we have our header. What do we need next? So next what we need is, we need a main section. Can you see that? So we need main, and inside that we are going to have header. So I'm just going to copy this from here, go back into our app, and here we need to do something like this. And we'll also need to close main. But there is a problem here. You cannot return multiple parent element from a component, right? So simple way to fix it is to wrap them into a div, and it will start working. Let's see. We'll save it, and here you can see it started working. But why to have an external div? Like, we don't need this div, right? So this is also known as div pollution or element pollution, you can say. So we don't need it, and that is where fragment comes in. Fragment is a wrapper that helps React wrap multiple parent element, but it will not create an element inside our browser. So if you want to see the difference, let's look at it. So now if we take a look at our div with root, you will see you have a div that is coming from here. Inside that we have header and we have main. What if we remove this and just make a fragment? You refresh it, you go inside div, you see directly header and main. You don't see an extra div. So you can use fragment for that purpose. Now inside main, what do we need to do? We need to show hero section. So we'll say hero, we'll import it and display it. As soon as we'll save, we will get our hero section here. After hero, what do we need? So after this section, we need articles component. So let's go ahead and display articles component. Save it, and here we will have our articles component. Now only thing left for us is footer. But when you look at footer, you will see that footer is outside of main, right? So we're just going to say footer. We'll import footer, save it. Now the structure of our website is fully complete. We have our header, hero section, articles, and then we have our footer section. So in this way we are done with this. But if you look at your console, there is an error saying invalid property class. Did you mean class name? Why is it? Is because in JSX you don't write class, you write class name. So we'll go through all these files and replace our class to class name. So we'll say class name, we'll go into articles. We don't have any class here. Replace it with name. In footer we don't have any. Here we don't have any. As soon as we save it, what will happen is the error should be gone, and that is what it is. We don't see any error. It means that there is no error right now. The first part of this app is done. We have created the structure or the components, and we have composed them together to create this layout. Now what we need to do is to make these articles dynamic by using the data that we have. We'll copy the data from here. And there are multiple ways to use this data. You can define it into a specific file where you're using. So where we are using this data, we are going to use it in articles. So we can just say, we can just define a variable called all articles is going to be an array like this. But can you see one problem here is like, just because we define this data here, our component is just not visible. So this is not the right way to do it. Better way to do it is just go ahead and create a file named data, and inside that we can just say articles. Here what we can do, we can just say all articles so you can also export it from here. So at the bottom you can say export default all articles. Here we have stored our article and we are also exporting it from here. Now what we can do, we can go into articles and we can import all the articles. So we can say import all articles from, we need to import it from, we have to first go back from components, and then we'll see data, and inside data we'll just select articles. So now we have access to articles, and instead of returning it like this, we just need to use map here. So we'll say all articles dot map, we'll get access to individual article, and for each article we just need to return our article component. We'll save it and it will start working. But one thing that will change is in our console we'll see an error. So let's look at data here. So each data has author, title, description, URL, URL to image, publish stat, and content. So here the first thing we need to do is every time you're using map, you need to pass a key to the children. So we'll say key, and key needs to be unique. So what is unique in this case? For now, let us make author to be unique, but this is not the case. Generally, every article that you will get, you will have an ID, and that is always going to be unique. For the sake of this, what we can do, we can just make publish stat to be unique. So I'll just say article dot publish stat. This error will be gone as soon as you refresh it. So here we have articles and the error is gone and we don't have any error. So all okay now. All we need to do is to send this data from here to article component so we can replace all this information from there. So one way of doing that, you can pass it as an article info as we have done it earlier. You can say article info is going to be article, and then there we can access this. So this is one way to do that. So if you want to take a look at the dev tools to understand it better, let's have a look. So for dev tools, all you need to do is to install React Dev Tools on Chrome. So you just have to install it. I've already installed it. So here what you can do, you can click on components and you can see all the components here. So this is my app, header, hero, articles, and then we have footer. Each article is getting some information. Because we are sending it like article info, we are getting information in our prop as a key inside article info. But there is another way to do that, and that is a lot more easier. So what we can do, rather than sending it into a key, what you can do, you can just spread all the information of article and put it out there. So we don't have to always go ahead and say props.articleinfo.author. We can just say props.author. So let's see the difference. So you have taken a look inside prop, we have article info and then we have author. As soon as you will save it, it will change. What do we see now? Inside prop, we have author, content, description, publish stat, and everything right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and fix our article component. Inside our article components, we can see we are getting all this information. To accept it, we'll have to say props. Now what we will do, we'll replace all this information. So first, image. So image is coming from URL to image, and here we'll say props.url to image. Here we need title. So we'll remove this, and title is coming here as title. So we'll say props.title. Going forward, here again we are going to have few caption that is going to be title. So we'll say props.title. Again here it is going to be props.description, and at last we need URL. So we'll just say the href is going to be props.url, and you just have to call visit website or just read more. We save it. Now when we look at our app, we can see all the images, title, description became dynamic, and when we click on this one, it will take me to that individual article. Isn't it? How cool it is. So in this way we have completed this exercise, and the way we did that is we created a folder named components. Inside that we have app, articles, footer, header, and hero components. We have also added a folder named data that contains article.js, where we have just stored all the information of the articles in a variable called all articles, and we are exporting it from here. We need to use it inside our articles component, so we imported it and we are using it here. Few things to notice is you always use class name instead of class when you are using JSX. And whenever you use map, always pass a key to the children component, and the key always needs to be unique. Right now we are just saying publish stat to be unique, and that is working for now, but generally you will always have ID to play with that. So in this way we completed this exercise.